allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so Bill's absent and Kevin is adopt tonight's agenda on the budget hearing board meeting.
I'll make a motion, we adopt the agenda for the budget board meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No, none. Motion, we've got an agenda. Doesn't look like there's any public comments and questions, so I think we can move past that and get into new business. We need approval of resolution number 8-2425 for the 2025-26 budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution number 8-24-25, 2025-2026 budget.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? None being, motion passed. We have a little discussion on the review of the 25-26 material supplies and operating costs.
So according to Washington state law, we have to disclose our MSOC spending for the upcoming year. And it always looks a little bit odd for us because our revenues are 1.2 million and our expenditures are 35 million, when really that is because of our relationship with Insight School of Washington with contracted services. So it looks like that's all out of whack, and that's why it's very different than most any other school district. So you can see the bulk of the totals by expenditure. Our F-196, the F stands for financial, 195, that's what starts the budget process. The F-196 closes the budget process. So you can see what we're projecting to expend in the 2025-2026 school year. And the O1 program is basic ed, so that would be contracts that we have for services in the general fund for brick and mortar. O2 or program 02 is the ALE. Program 03, the 88,000 is our open doors program with Insight. And then program 97 would be any of our capital projects, any of our maintenance expenditures.
Okay. So that pretty much explains that part of it.
So that's our annual disclosure.
Disclosure,
Mhm.
right. Any other questions or comments on that, or anybody else has any questions? If not, we'll adjourn this meeting and begin our next. Meeting
Perfect.
adjourned.
Perfect.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the regular school board meeting, Tuesday, July 29th, 2025. We just did the Pledge of Allegiance, so we can move on from there, and we need approval of the meeting minutes of regular meeting of June 24th, 2025.
And just for clerical, Robert's Rules of Order, if you were not here, you can vote
Yeah.
on them. So we have a quorum, so you can vote on them if you were not here.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to approve them.
Correct. Correct.
Good point.
I'll make a motion, we accept, approve the meeting minutes of the June 24th meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, any questions or comments on it, or any errors that you see? Okay, if no questions or comments, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving the minutes of June 24th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Next one we have is the board workshop meeting of July 15th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I make a motion to approve the board workshop meeting of July 5th.
Opposed? None hearing. Motion carried. Okay, we need to adopt tonight's agenda. Do I get a motion for that?
I'll make a motion, we adopt tonight's agenda.
And I'll second that.
Good, we got that then. Okay, any changes to the agenda? I see you had some stuff in yellow online, but it looks like it's on this one, so
Those were late
late
additions.
additions,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, so we need to vote on that, right? So all in favor of tonight being, adopt tonight's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None hearing. Okay. We have an agenda. Now we're gonna move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, do we have any questions or need any explanation on anything? Quite a big one.
So it looks like you hired a JV coach for football. Is that all? Is he the only coach? Somebody told me they weren't even gonna have that program this year for lack of coaches.
No, that is for our football, middle school football position. So it's not, I mean, it's a program that supports the high school, but it's a separate program.
Oh,
They have approximately 6 games, and my understanding is we have volunteer coaches who will be helping that, but they just do not want the full responsibility in the event their work has to call them. He'll get help. We'll have to fill. There's usually an assistant coach that goes with it.
So that's good because if we lost that program for a year, that would.
Then it would really
Yeah.
gut the high school football program.
yeah, I guess. The Jay Wind on the gutter, what's he replacing?
Down the bus barn, the big long gutter that goes all the way across, so he's gotta pull the metal off, take all the metal down, take the fascia board off from underneath, pull all the fascia board off, and then put new fascia board, then put all new gutters, all new metal and gutters. So she's gonna also strip the front of that, and take all that old stuff off, the old sliding doors that were there back in the early 80s. And then he's gonna go across to the other one and do the same thing on the front of the other one. Except for there's no metal to replace there, it's just fascia and gutter across that.
So he's doing more than just replacing gutters.
Yeah, you gotta take, so it's new metal, new fascia, taking all that other stuff off there, all the old stuff. We've been trying to get gutters on it for quite some time, we just can't seem to get any gutters.
Oh,
So,
and what about because I wasn't here last meeting, did you, because the meeting before, we kind of tabled
RJ Services,
having the drains, catch basins all sucked
I
out.
called the city, and I talked with the city. Paul said they won't do that. He said if we got an emergency and they had to do maybe one of them, they would do one of them for us. He said they would do that. And I said, if we paid you, and he says, no, they don't do that. Then I called down to Brent Gagnon, because Brent's got the septic truck, and Brent says he doesn't do it either. We did have an individual here in town that we used in the past, but I was told we're not able to use them at this current time.
Because I was thinking the little truck that they use to clean out the porta potties, why couldn't that work?
Why did Brett not want to do it?
He said it doesn't do it.
Don't you have to have a special license to do it?
So
So
Not hazardous waste,
you
it's
just have
just
to have placement
sludge.
materials. We used RJ Services once before. Because we could, our local person did. And then it's been a while, so that's why we really need to get this done. So I talked with them on the phone and asked them, and they said dumping fees are probably about $350 to $500 added on top of that. And it's a lot of money. I agree with you guys. It's a lot of money to spend, but we've got to suck out all those catch basins, and I don't have a lot of options.
And it's gotta get done once a year.
We'd like to do it once a year. You know, we'll skip 2-3 years from time to time.
They might have to buy a little truck and just come down here and put it in.
There's a lot of them, and that's not even all of them. So,
But
And
some
we
of
don't
them
have
are
that-
small, some can't be any bigger than this table probably.
well, they're deep though, they go down.
And they go down,
Get all
yeah.
the product
Right.
underneath there.
We didn't put the contract back on the agenda yet, right?
Yeah,
So,
no, but,
I wanted to talk to you guys tonight sometime and let you know.
well, we
I
could,
did investigate those other possibilities and just don't know.
we could
The
discuss
cost
it
to
at,
talk to RJ Services.
if there's more to talk about, we can do it at our board member reports or
Okay.
around there, because that's kind of an open session, and for steps prior, can't really fit into the old business because it's not on the agenda, so.
Okay.
I think under the, Mike, if you want to bring that back up under the board member report,
Okay,
because I was kind of wondering about it too, so.
okay.
How are we doing for staffing? I mean, I see there's a lot of new hires here, but are we?
We still have critical positions
Do we?
open. Yeah. The biggest ones are the auto tech, welding CTE at the high school, counselor at the high school, counselor at the elementary school. I think most of our certificated, we have a multi-tiered systems of support coordinator. That's not as critical for the classroom. And then we have quite a few paraeducator positions open
And an ECAP.
and one ECAP position open. But we have a couple of candidates for that one.
How, with the kindergarten being really low this year, how does ECAP look? I mean, is it?
I don't know yet, other than they cut. I'm meeting with Tammy Lidster on the 15th of August. She's the coordinator. But we were cut 10 positions. Remember, our funding was cut. So we will only have space for 44, but I don't know where that is. And the last I looked for kindergarten kids, and you have to have a 17-to-1 ratio. In those lower level classes. And then we had to reshuffle kids, and everybody was upset because it was 4 weeks into school and my kids already bonded with that teacher. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
We shall see.
Yeah.
Did you get a replacement for Cindy?
We didn't, so if you want to come get a one-on-one budget update, we did not replace Cindy and we did not replace Tom. We're down 2 administrators.
But we'll be okay.
We'll be okay.
And you're not even gonna fill Tom's spot. If somebody came up, you don't think it's a,
I'll be honest, we do have several candidates who have applied and they're working on their counseling certificate. And there's a way, I don't know if you can get a conditional or not in counseling. You can in teaching. A conditional means we give you 2 years or 3 years to finish your
Finish up.
certification, but you have to be under somebody, and that adds added responsibility. We have 1 certified counselor right now, but I'm very worried about the high school with the technicality of the graduation requirements and the added stress for the mental health services, both at our elementary and our high school level, because our kids are needing those services. So what we could do, at least in the elementary position, if need be, we could pivot and post a social worker type person who takes care of the social needs of a student. That's what I think some of our neighboring school districts are doing when they cannot find particular positions. So we may have to pivot and do that. But I don't know if there are also certified social workers in the area or not. Tough times.
sounds like it's gonna get interesting.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried. Like Shannon said it. Who has experience in that? They have to have 6,000 work hours. We can put them on a conditional certification, bring them in from the industry. If you know of anyone, Tim Brown.
Okay, so we had a second on the consent agenda, so I'm gonna ask for the vote of approving tonight's consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, you pass. Reports. I think you're ready to go on the financial report for June ending. How does that look, Diana?
So,
Kick it over to you.
yeah, I think Hazel's getting it up on the board. So June is one of our shortest months. It's 6% of apportionment. And you may remember, you may not remember, it looks like we spent way more than we normally do, but we were, every school district in the state of Washington was shorted. And I went back to the memo to find out specifically why, and it was because of, they had to do an extension. They can't exceed their authority as well. And they did a one-time payment mandated by legislation to FTE, I think. Insight was awarded 140,000. I can't remember how much we were, but that put them over the threshold of what their authority to spend was. So we were shorted about 300,000, just under 300,000. So our apportionment, a payment for the month of July, and July is our largest amount for 12%, 12.5% is going to be much larger. We'll almost be 5.5 million. So it looks like it's short for that reason. But we have about 6 million in undesignated, unreserved. But when we look at the next month, you're going to see that pop way up. If you go back to that chart, we're going to see that probably go up to about 10 million overall. Let me see what else there was. I don't believe we got any more. Jan says we are short federal forest funds, and she's the state was showing that we were to get 18,000 and we've only gotten 9,000. So she's talking with the county to find out where that is, as well as the UW DNR funds we've not seen yet either.
So you said Forest Service, not state, right?
Forest and the DNR funds. I was going to see if we received a little bit more in the debt service fund for junior taxing district. But other than that, we're on schedule. We won't need an extension, and stay tuned. Fine.
What about our back pay? Were we supposed to collect some back pay?
Yeah,
from the county?
the DNR, it was the money that was in our junior taxing district that went to the UW, and I think Jan did an inquiry and they haven't responded yet. We haven't seen it yet. They were going to get back to us. The county was.
You're putting the wrong account.
We spent it by accident. We'll get it back.
Oh no.
Yeah, clawback. So that's what you have on the financial report.
That's it.
That's it. And it'll get bigger as we get kiddies in the school to brick and mortar, back to that stuff. See where they're at.
What is your allocation per student next year going to be?
We did not see an increase for ALE. I think it's $10,360 some. That's not if a student is special ed. If they get special, if they receive special ed services, they have an enhancement. And then for brick and mortar, I believe we're at 14,686, somewhere in there. And we did not see an increase. We did, however, see a huge increase in special ed. So that will benefit. For example, it used to be capped at 17% of your population. Now there's no cap. So if you have 25% special ed students, you get 25% enhanced funding. That was the biggest change in legislation. And I think brick and mortar, we were right at 16%, and I think Sheila Insight was right at 19%. So they were above the threshold. There were about 2 or 3% they weren't getting enhanced funding for. Now they'll receive all of it. But that doesn't start until September 1st of 2025, the new year.
I'd heard on the news like New York City was like 38,000 or something.
Well, there are some school districts in Washington State, like Seattle, Bellevue, where I think they're in the 20,000s. It's all dependent on your local funding and how much you pay your teachers and what it costs per student. And we're at the low end. We don't receive, the big cities get 18% additional funds for teacher salaries, all kinds of different things for living in a metropolitan area that we don't get. And so that changes the landscape.
Right.
I don't know that we have any at 38,000 per student.
I can see that in New York though.
I could too, yeah.
Mike, you kind of brought something up on HRJ services on the catch basins.
Yeah, let me see if there's anything before that. Probably not. Next time we have pizza, I'll make sure that I don't miss that.
Yeah.
We had a lot left
That's why I had to
over.
send you a picture.
They got DoorDash here, we could send them some.
We
If
could,
he
'cause
misses
that's
next
in
time.
Beaver. Yeah, that would be fun.
But yeah, I'll ask you, Billy, we'll discuss that catch basin.
We didn't have these guys on there, so what we end up doing is we contact them, talk to them, then we send them the paperwork for small works and everything else.
So like 13,000.
Yeah, I think I don't have it with me.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere
I
around
agree
there.
it's expensive.
But that didn't include the dumping fees either.
No,
So
the
it's,
dumping fees.
fees are gonna be a lot more, it sounds like.
It was $350 to $500 more.
Now, we have no place on site to dump that stuff. So,
You have to get rid of it no matter what.
so they're gonna charge us travel time and dumping fees on
Mhm.
top of that 13,000, so. It's gonna be a lot.
$500.
They could dump in my field for
So,
I was just thinking,
$300.
I got a field too they
I
could
know,
dump
I
in.
mean, that's the thing,
Yeah.
because the travel.
it's all just leaves and sludge and
It's just sludge, but you get
Yeah.
oils and stuff in there too, so, I know that at one point, when we had a lot smaller, we took some of those out ourselves. The city let us take it out to industrial park at one point, when they had it, available all the time. And then they would keep it with their stuff and look for leaching, but all that's been gone, so.
Well, I think we tabled it because we wanted more information on it. I think that helped, but I would suggest, I mean, that you try to find another company to get a competitive bid with it and negotiate maybe a little bit off of it. And I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I know it's gonna come down to it, but I mean, you've got how'd you get a hold of these guys? Did you just
They've done
call?
it for us before. We used them to suck out the oil water separators in the past. And so I used them, 4 years ago.
Mhm.
I think it was about $10,000 4 years ago to do it.
I just pulled up the contract. It's 12,545 plus then the dumping fees.
Yeah, but you gotta add the sales tax of 1,078 on it.
so who's inspecting that? Is that city, county, state, EPA, or who's?
It's not that it's for inspection. They don't really inspect it. We just, if you don't clean those out, they'll build up. You have nowhere for your water to go and you'll backfill and start flooding.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure we suck all those out and try to get the one over here, at the behind Auxiliary Gym. That's one of our main ones. That's right there. But,
Well, there's nothing
they'll go
that
all the way across.
says we can't put an ad in the paper
Right.
Well, I know, and it's kind of time sensitive too. I think we want to do it before.
before the
start,
rains start,
so
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a couple bids on it just to see what it would be. I'm not saying we got to do it though. I understand that, but just when's our next board meeting in?
August 25th.
So we should probably make sure we
Get it done
get it
before
back
then.
on the
Okay.
agenda by then and
Right.
have discussion on it by then. So that'll give you a month to maybe call some guys and see.
Right.
It really surprised me Brett didn't.
Yeah, no, just wondering with our CTE, are we able to do anything through Ed 2020 for kids? Any type of fun classes they could take? or-
Brenda has done some legwork to find out what we could do, like with a instructional paraeducator, with online other types of getting your CDL. There are some ways that we could work on other things, working on some of those. And she is not here. She's on her 2-week break. And when she gets back, if we don't have any leads on here, we'll take a different direction. So we will do something.
Okay.
We're not going to do nothing.
Well, I know we talked about doing Google searches and different
Mhm.
things like that.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have some of those. So.
Yeah. We need some other options for
We
the
do.
kiddos.
We really need to tap into some of our local sources too. I mean, even maybe partner with DNR to figure out, internships that way, at least something that our kids would be interested in doing.
I would, yeah. I know there's been working on some of that on the college level in Port Angeles for foresters to come, because companies, we've been pushing on that level and the college levels to get kids interested in it, and Peninsula, and then internships, and keep them here.
Mhm.
So anyway, hopefully there's some traction. One of our conferences we had, they talked about it, a whole panel on it. Port Angeles is trying to get a 4-year degree of forestry there.
I saw that.
Aberdeen Grace Harbor, I think, has one now, I think.
I believe.
So,
At our board retreat, the administrators will come for the last part of it, and I'll have Brenda give you an update on what her plans are.
sure.
You can only start a program at the beginning of a semester. So if you didn't have something for auto mechanics at the start of the school year, you couldn't do anything, you can't do anything midstream.
Well, you could technically put a long-term sub in there who could do the safety parts, and the safety parts you could probably follow. A lot of it is a test. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then hopefully by the time you got through with the safety parts, you might have an instructor. That's what you would think, or hope, yeah.
I think it, just realistically, depending on who it is, by December, going through the book stuff, the hands-on, it could probably be handled by somebody. It's not,
It should
yeah.
take about 2 or 3 weeks to get
Yeah.
through the safety parts.
And then be able to do some hands-on stuff. I mean, it's not like they're, yeah.
Trust me, I've been asking around everywhere. I was in Decker City Hardware.
Go
Dean,
down
do
to
you know
Jerry's and rob
anyone?
Dave Ness.
The problem is most of mechanics are working for a lot higher wage
Mhm.
doing diesel work,
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
it's hard to compete.
at least local.
Mhm. So, but I mean, the basics of it, changing tires, stuff like that. I mean, nowadays you look underneath the hood of a car, I don't even want to even change this. Yeah, they don't have spark plug. You have to be looking for, it'd be the sun.
I just learned my battery was not in my motor.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to even find stuff in there.
In the second row, in the floor.
Mhm.
Your battery?
That's for my
What are you
battery.
driving? A Tesla?
GMC.
Huh?
Yeah,
I had
Wow.
no idea.
yeah.
Interesting.
When did they move the batteries there? I don't know.
Yeah. Anything else, Shannon? Or
Nope, that was
good?
it.
Okay. I have a couple things. Nice weather. Enjoy that. One thing, for board members, I would, and you're only 2 of you here, but I think that, and I've said this before, I think really think about going to WASDA this year. We got reservations. It's a lot of things are changing, and it's always get a refresher. I learn something new every year I go. So, and it's in Seattle this year, so you can walk across the ferry. You don't have to drive to Bellevue. And we do have reservations, but it would be nice if you guys really consider going. It would be, even for a day or two, I think it would be worth your while, just to see the new stuff and all the politics that come into play.
You could come over Thursday night, spend Friday, and leave Friday night or early Saturday morning. It's probably going to coincide with or conflict with hunting, probably.
Probably.
When is it this year?
November.
Changed, I thought.
Seems like it's always
The
nice.
3rd and the 4th and 5th.
It's
That's
the 3rd and the
Washington,
4th,
DC.
right, Sheila?
Yeah,
Yeah.
December?
December 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yes.
Tell them my calendar. And the is at the 21st and 22nd, right? Yeah, I got that on my calendar. So anyway, if you guys get a chance and would like to go, it'd be nice, just because there's a lot of good things there. That's all I had for board member report. Sheila, you want to talk?
So Myron is on a very well-deserved paid time off. So good for him. He's out camping with children and doing all the good things that he should be doing at this time of year. So I just have a really brief enrollment update as we're gearing up for fall. So as you know, we need to get the choice transfer forms for families who want to participate in our program, and they're doing a really good job at hunting those down and helping families get the information from their districts. So right now we have 2,656 families who have told us they want to re-register. We have 277 new students for fall. As of right now, fully approved with CTRs, we have 2,244 that are ready to roll on September 4th. And we will continue to work with all these families to, get their forms and make sure they're fully qualified to participate in the program. One of the things I wanted to point out is our year-over-year delta. So compared to this exact time last year, we're 280 students ahead of the game, which is lovely. And our biggest growth is in middle school. We're 131 ahead there. 124 ahead in K-5, and holding pretty steady in high school with a gain of about 24 students. So that's the quick update on enrollment. We continue to gear up for fall for that, September 4th start date, and we'll continue to do the open enrollment as we did last year and welcome new students in throughout the year. And that really helps our enrollment grow throughout the year. So
Good.
Quick
Good.
report. Yeah, good news. All good.
Sheila, do you know they must have got the portal fixed in the choice portal? For a while it wasn't.
I was down forever. Yes.
Good. Good.
Well, good. Are you enjoying your summer? You got summer all the time though, where you're at. So
Yeah, it's beautiful weather-wise. It's been a lot of work getting ready to launch a new school, and that takes a lot of time and energy, a lot of conversations.
Where are you launching a new school? I should know this.
In New Mexico, we're changing a partnership, and we are getting ready to roll open school next week. So exciting!
Congratulations. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
a lot of hard work. Congratulations.
It's a lot of hard work.
I couldn't remember. I knew there were sites on Hawaii at one time.
There were sites on Hawaii. The Charter Commission does not really appreciate mainlanders. They weren't welcoming us with open arms.
Got it. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yep.
okay, well, thank you.
You bet.
Okay, moving on to old business, we have a board policy 1620, the board superintendent relationship. So I need a motion on that, and then we can discuss it or have any questions.
I'll make a motion for board to approve board policy number 1620, the board superintendent relationship.
I'll second that.
Yeah, it looks like it's pretty short, and there's just some cleanup on it. Nothing changed too much. Not a lot of red there.
No, mostly the shall versus the will and a few like that things, and just hear what your
Yeah,
thinking is on them.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get this approved. If it does carry the votes, we got a second on it. So all in favor of approving board policy number 1620, the board superintendent relationship, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passed. So board procedure number 1620, this is up, there's no motion, just for discussion. And then you want to tie in the board retreat along with that?
Well, yeah, and really on the third page, if we need to clarify again, we function well when our team functions well, when you know your roles and I know my role, and then we make sure we communicate. So I want to hear what your thinking is at our retreat about how could we improve communications within ourselves, anything that I do. And then the other part is visit to schools. I mean, we haven't done those, and I think it's really critical that you spend time in our schools so you can really get an understanding, because part of my role is to make sure that you understand our operations so that when you have to make hard decisions or you have to implement policy or make changes to the way we spend money or whatever, that you really understand what our schools look like. And so I'm wondering if we could arrange visits. You are welcome in our schools. Many of you are grandparents and are already in our schools. I get that. That's great. But it would
Mhm.
also be good if principals could walk you around and where you could observe what's happening in the classrooms.
Yeah, I've been through them and I like them, but I think from, how do you explain it? I'd like to be, I know we just can't.
You'd like to be invisible.
Invisible.
Yeah.
I mean, not to tell them we're coming, but just, I know we don't want to disrupt class as much as we can,
Yeah.
but I think sometimes it's prepared and not the real thing. So that's my biggest thing on visits. I love them, but some of them know that when I've been through them, they knew we were coming, and I'd rather have a more just spur them on and see how it is and interact maybe more with lunch and stuff, not just the classroom, because how kids behave sometimes is on both. I mean, especially in the middle school. I haven't been through there much, and the one that I did, it was kind of new we were coming, and everyone was on their best behavior and had questions for us. Whereas just to walk in a classroom and see how it's going would be kind of nice to see.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you can dress up and act like you're the new kid, sit in the back, just gotta see how it goes. Yeah.
Oh, the kids will be honest.
Yeah.
That's good. That's what we want.
But anyway, I'd like to kind of get your thinking on it, and then when our administrators, and I thought it would be interesting too, and we'll talk with Myron about this at our retreat, is if we could sit in or experience a little bit of online as well.
Yeah, I think that was brought up at one time, and I
Yeah.
don't think we've done it. That would be interesting, just
It
to
would
see
be.
how the structure,
Yeah.
because those are
Yeah.
online and you can kind of just
Mhm.
not put your camera on and just kind of sit and listen, maybe, just to see how it
Yeah.
interacts with the kids. And I'm interested in it too.
Or
so.
one of you could even be a guest speaker, in any of our schools, just to help get interest in our kids being leaders someday.
Mhm.
So that's just my thinking.
Yeah, no, that's.
I mean, I feel like I feel like we're a solid group and our communication is really good. Like when you need to know something, I'm going to call you and let you know it, and vice versa. But oftentimes when there are challenges and things get hard, I just want to make sure that we're sound. So.
Good. So we'll probably cover a little bit about this.
Yeah, at the
our
retreat. Yeah.
With the other two there, so
Yep.
that'd be good.
And do we know where that's at yet?
Yes, is that the next?
Yeah, that's the
Oh.
next. I was gonna.
Oh,
just
sorry,
have
I thought we were
roll
talking
right-
about that
Roll
already.
right into it with the board retreat.
Just make
So
sure I
we'll
had it in my
do it like we did last year at the ONRC at 2:30,
Oh,
and
good.
Shelley will have treats there for us. We'll spend about an hour and a half together, and then we'll bring the administrators on like we did last time.
Well, that sounds good.
Structure it quite a bit like last time.
That's
The
on
only
the
thing we'll start with is I'll let you look at your own self-assessment of where you are as a board. We'll have the results of that then.
Mhm.
7th. I don't know why I had 19th in my head. Something. Is something on the 19th?
No.
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 Okay.
The 7th at 2:30. All right.
Yeah.
I think
That's
last
next
year we
week.
were done by 6.
Yeah.
5:36,
I'll
yeah.
be back from Portland on the Wednesday night, and then just stay out here and look through it. So hopefully not get too.
What does your menu look like? Do we know?
Oh, I have Hazel working on that. What's the menu? That pulled pork sandwiches. We'll have a charcuterie board.
Some
She'll-
salad.
Salads,
I
Shelley.
think she said a crumble or something like
Oh,
that.
Shelley's gonna cater it for us.
Mhm.
Right on.
Drinks. Well, good. That sounds fun. Or good. So about 2:30 to 6. Okay. Moving on to new business, we do have to approve something here on the Forks Middle School replacement project. So let's talk a little bit before we get a motion for it. You want to talk a little bit? You're closer to it, Diana, than we are, of course. So
Right, and this, we kind of reviewed it at the last meeting. He had sent a synopsis of what he thought he heard based on our meeting.
Mhm.
And so he has outlined services, facilitating the monthly advisory committee meetings starting in September and going through June, presenting at a monthly school board meeting during that time, and he will be present for all of those. He'll be here in person, so that includes his travel. And out of his work, we'll create the education specifications. He'll help us with the D form process at OSPI, create conceptual front entrance and rendering, the preliminary site work, and then really work with, so if we were going to go to the design service schematic design, and remember, he advised us not to do that. That is based on the architectural fees at the state level. That's the $675,000. That's what would be next after this first stage. And so he's proposing that we do not do that until we get all of this done. And his cost is $85,000.
Yeah, so this is kind of adding on to that. Me and Diana both have WASDA went through the workshop for what they're talking about doing designing, and it was kind of really interesting. The UW used a lot because they save so much money on their stuff, and it was really interesting. Of course, they're right in the middle, and a lot of schools are going to it. So, so the workshop, if you do go to WASDA, that's one that I would suggest someone to go to learn about it, especially when you're getting involved. And that's kind of what I was going to try to go to some of these WASDA. I haven't looked at their.
Remember how he talked about the reason we wouldn't want the design service here is because if we do the GCCM, you bring your contractor to the table when you're designing everything, and that saves the cost at the end.
Yeah.
But you have to hire them up front. Yeah.
Which, yeah.
And this is the route we're doing right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the middle one. There's another.
It is the middle one.
It's more upfront.
Mhm.
But like I said, when you're in Seattle area, all those contractors are there and they give you good bids. When you're out here, a little bit more difficult, but it doesn't say that it won't happen. But I think it's a good way to go because you get the builder saying, well, hey, this ain't going to work, before you get to it, right?
Mhm.
And they have some input. So anyway, yeah, so, November, you guys do go to WASDA. If you see that on the list for one of the workshops, it'd be a really good educational thing for you to get there. And yeah, I thought it was beneficial. So anyway.
But we're gonna have to trust Jay's opinion on some of this.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if he's coming on board, he doesn't want to burn his bridge, so.
Oh, no.
He's gonna,
No,
we should
And-
get good information out of him.
just checking around in the hearing what other superintendents are paying. They're paying anywhere from about 75, 85,000 to in the upper 150,000 for this type of service.
And it looks like he's gonna participate quite a bit.
Yeah.
If he's gonna be to these different meetings and
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that, that's good. So,
Yeah. He'll be, taking ownership of it too.
He will.
So, and that's a good thing from it. So, yeah.
Where are you at on forming your little committee?
That's one of the items we'll talk about at our retreat. You have to approve it formally in August, but I'll have a tentative outline and then see what your thinking is, and then we'll bring it to the board, to the public for approval. People have given me good ideas. Have a couple more people to approach, and I'm getting positive, actually, response, so.
Good. Okay, well, I need a motion on the Hampton Architect pre-bond planning service fee proposal.
I'll make a motion, we approve the contract for Ensign Architecture pre-bond planning service fee proposal.
And I'll second that.
Okay. We discussed a little bit, so I'm gonna call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Well, that wasn't too long a meeting. I guess I can adjourn it unless anybody has anything else.
That was pretty fast.
Yeah.
Fine job, Ron, fine job.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.
Did I give you
I bet-
one already?
No,
Thank
I
you,
should-
Sheila.
But I got it,
Thank
yeah.
you. Have a wonderful evening. Bye, everyone.
She'll be